All right, so let's get to it.
Madam Vice President, thank you for the time.
Thank you. It's good to be with you, Brett.
You know, voters tell pollsters all over the country and here in Pennsylvania that immigration is one of the key issues that they're looking at this election, and specifically the influx of illegal immigrants from more than 150 countries. How many illegal immigrants would you estimate your administration has released into the country over the last 3.5 years?
Well, I'm glad you raised the issue of immigration because I agree with you. It is a topic of discussion that people want to rightly have. And you know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, but
right
do you,
now,
just a number. Do you think it's 1 million, 3 million?
Brett, let's just get to the point. Okay, the point is.
He's asking for a specific number, right? He started off the interview strong. I'm not going to lie. He got right to it. He got right to it. And this is one of the things that I heard some of the commentators saying. They said that he started it off disrespectful. Other people said, just answer the question. He asked a straightforward question, and he did not want to entertain the normal word salad answer that Kamala gives. So which side are y'all seeing it from so far?
1 million, 3 million?
Brett, let's just get to the point. Okay, the point is that we have a broken immigration system that needs to be repaired.
So your Homeland Security Secretary said that 85% of apprehensions.
I'm not finished. We have an
it's a rough estimate of 6 million people have been released into the country. And let me just finish. I'll get to the question. I promise you.
I was beginning to answer.
And when
I understand the frustration on his end, and this is the thing. In a normal interview, I'll be totally honest. In a normal interview, I could see how people would see his approach being a bit harsh in a normal interview. Understanding Kamala Harris and understanding how she's interviewed, where she does not answer questions straightforward. She always plays the blame game. She seems to recycle the same rhetoric, whether it's I was raised in a middle class or I'm the only candidate in this race that has prosecuted criminals for coming across border, all that stuff, you know, the normal stuff that she says. He asked a straightforward question. Did not get a straightforward answer. And she's starting off by saying that we have a broken border system. A broken border system. Who broke it? And if it was always broken, the question that I asked you on the last show, how was Donald Trump able to contain the migrants coming in at a much greater rate, or I should say lesser? How was he able to control it in a greater way compared to hers, which y'all heard the 60 Minutes interviewer clearly say that the numbers quadrupled when her and Joe Biden came into office. So y'all tell me. And shout out to Mac Daddy. Shout out to Mac Daddy. We can be unburdened by what has been the last 4 years. I see. So that's another one that she always says. So Aunt Rodak, are you implying Kamala has a problem accepting accountability because she's a woman candidate? Yo. Oh, you have no idea why that's funny. Yo, so I'm definitely not on that end anymore. I'm definitely not on that end. That's not what nope. You're not going to get me. I'll be totally honest. I told y'all I had an epiphany on the last show. So what Ant's kind of joking about, for the people that weren't on, matter of fact, I think that was 2 shows ago on Monday. I used to see things that I wanted a man as president. I preferred a man as president, but I realized that by playing that identity game, it can lead to issues in other areas, and same issues that I complain about, whether it's black people always voting Democrat or this, or us just voting for somebody because they're black. And so I just said, you know what? I'm rooting for the best candidate. Whoever's the best candidate, I'm sure it'll show. So, yeah, we'll keep going from there. And dang, y'all didn't even tell me. All right, let's go.
When you came into office, your administration immediately reversed a number of Trump border policies. Most significantly, the policy that required illegal immigrants to be detained through deportation, either in the U.S. or in Mexico. And you switched that policy. They were released from custody awaiting trial. So instead, included in those were a large number of single men, adult men, who went on to commit heinous crimes. So, looking back, do you regret the decision to terminate Remain in Mexico at the beginning of your administration?
At the beginning of our administration, within practically hours of taking the oath, the first bill that we offered Congress, before we worked on infrastructure, before the Inflation Reduction Act, before the Chips and Science Act, before the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, the first bill, practically within hours of taking the oath, was a bill to fix our immigration system.
Yes, ma'am. It was called the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021.
Exactly.
It was essentially a pathway to citizenship for the elite. Yes, ma'am.
May I finish responding, please?
But
you have to let me finish.
You
please.
had the White House and the House and the Senate,
and
they didn't bring up that bill.
Responding to the
This reminds me of a conversation I was having with one of my buddies yesterday. We're talking like having direct convo about funny. We're talking about politics and everything else. And he's giving me a roundabout answer that is losing people on the Zoom call that are literally typing in the group chat like, yo, you lost me, bro. Like, yo, what are we even talking about? How did we get here? That wasn't the question. But I have to, it is a little bit like, oh, he's not, he's not going to allow her to give these type of roundabout answers without answering the question directly. And this is the first time that I've actually seen a reporter pull out the actual policy that they're referring to. And he does this throughout the interview. So he is well prepared. And I get it. Like, no, we're not going to do all that extra stuff. We're going to get directly to the point. You came onto our platform when this is how the interview is going to go. Now, of course, she wasn't used to that being on the more friendly platforms. We get it. Friendlier platforms, whether it's for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris, are going to be conducted in a different way. However, he is just pressing the issue, and not allowing her to hide behind a lot of the same excuses and reasons that she brings up in a lot of other interviews. Let's keep going.
The point you're raising,
okay.
And I'd like to finish.
Yes, ma'am.
We recognized from day one that, to the point of this being your first question, it is a priority for us as a nation and for the American people. And our focus has been on fixing a problem. And from day one, then, we have done a number of things, including to address our asylum system and put more resources, getting more judges, what we needed to do to tighten up penalties. And
so this is my question. When you hear her say all these things, are y'all familiar that they got rid of a lot of Donald Trump's policies when it comes to the border? Like, were y'all aware of that? They got rid of these things. Are you aware of this program called Catch and Release, to where normally they would go about it doing it one way? And now when Biden and Harris came in, now they would catch people and just release them into the public rather than detaining them. They would actually release these people and say, hey, just come back on your court date. Just come back on this date. Were y'all aware of these policies, that they were changed? Because in all the other interviews, or at least my perception of it when it came to Kamala or Joe Biden speaking on it, what does she keep saying? Oh, it was a broken border. Yeah, well, you got rid of certain policies that were, I don't know, plugging those leaks compared to, at least, I'm referring to when Trump was in office, compared to what happened when you guys just unplugged the leaks and the flood just came in. So is that something that she's held accountable for? Is that something that y'all hold her accountable for? Clearly, she's not accepting the responsibility, but I'm asking, just as you guys are watching it, as you guys are listening to it, is this something that you are aware of? And this is a great thing that the Fox journalist did, because I was not aware of some of these things. Let's keep going.
Increase penalties for illegal crossings, what we needed to do to deal with points of entry between border entry points. That's the work we did. And we worked on supporting what was a bipartisan effort, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress, to actually strengthen the border. That border bill would have put 1,500 more border agents at the border, which is why I believe the Border Patrol agents supported the bill. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States, which is a scourge affecting people of every background, every geographic location in our country, killing people. It would have allowed us to put more resources into prosecuting transnational criminal organizations, which I have done as the Attorney General, former Attorney General of a border state.
Madam Vice President, a couple of things.
Prosecuted trafficking of drugs, guns, and human beings. And Donald Trump, but let me just finish.
Six Democrats voted against that bill.
Learned about that bill and told them to kill it because he preferred to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And in this election, this is rightly a discussion that the American people want to have. And what they want are solutions, and they want a president of the United States who's not playing political games with the issue,
I hear you,
but actually is focused on fixing it.
Six Democrats voted against that bill. It would have allowed 1.8 million illegal immigrants into the country a year. A lot of conservatives had a problem with it. These are the 6 Democrats.
I need y'all to look at this graph, this graphic. Take a look at this. Take a look at this. Bernie voted against it. And remember, Bernie's been one of the people coming out and saying that Kamala Harris is going to just say whatever she needs to get people's votes and then go back to being a totally different person when she actually gets elected. That's what Bernie Sanders has come out and said. I thought Cory Booker was our boy. He voted against it. Then you have Markey, Democrat, in Massachusetts, but then pay attention to the bottom line. What do you see? You see California, Arizona, border states. These are the people that voted against it. So while Kamala Harris runs around toting this bipartisan policy that would have solved everything at the border, you know, solved everything that they messed up or that they took to like it was already, let's say that it was already broken. They just destroyed it. So this is, she always tries to make it seem as if everybody just agreed with it. I had no idea that Bernie voted nay. To me, that's considerable. Let me make sure that I'm catching up with the comments. So Mark, shout out to Mark Dietz in the building. So we got a bunch of new people on here. Yeah, shout out to Mark. Mark wrote the numbers quadrupled with Biden Harris. Quadrupled. I think that's something worth noting. And I don't think that people, for some reason, when I tell that to people that are just kind of Trump haters or fans of the Democratic Party, that doesn't resonate with them. It's like, do y'all realize that 4 times the amount of people came in? Think about what quadrupling is. That's going, instead of 100, there's 400. Instead of 1,000, there's 4,000. Imagine quadrupling your salary this month. How much of a significant difference that would be. And then think about migrants coming in and thinking, how would they even expect Border Patrol, like the same things that she's complaining about? Hey, you know, the Border Patrol, they agreed with this policy. Well, yeah, they agreed with this policy. They probably would have agreed with any policy because they were so overwhelmed at that point in time. And if they thought the policy was a good policy, they probably wouldn't be endorsing Donald Trump right now. So she does a lot of, to me, it's a lot of manipulation. It's a lot of manipulation. And the only thing that I can think about, and y'all tell me if it's the same for you, do y'all have conversations with your family about politics? And I'm asking because do you know how hard it would be for somebody to not be obsessed, somebody who's not obsessed with looking at politics, somebody who's not on TikTok all day looking at it, on Instagram, on YouTube, listening to videos? Do we realize how hard it would be to look at a candidate, and I'm saying the Democrats, I'm talking about Kamala right now, to look at Kamala Harris and to truly understand certain things that are being said and to compare them to what has actually happened and to kind of take a deeper dive into a lot of these policies that she mentions? I mean, if you just listen to her, it would almost seem as if, yeah, you know, we put together an answer to this problem that's been a problem for a long time that nobody decided to address. And when we put the answer together, Donald Trump shut it down. That's pretty much her reason. Like, that's the answer that she gives when it comes to the border. So for somebody that's actually not looking at the other side's perspective, who's not going to do a deep dive on this stuff, I understand why they would have certain viewpoints to where they don't see how significant it is when it comes to voting for Kamala and supporting the Democratic Party based on just the things that Kamala is saying. Because those are the people that just hate Trump. They're not going to, look at Fox News. They're not going to look at objective news stations. And most people don't. So I'm just sitting here thinking like, damn, like this is probably going to be accepted by most people. And even most people looking at this interview right here, the responses that I got from a lot of people they were probably looking at clips, didn't look at the entire interview. But I heard multiple people like saying like, yo, she did him well. Like she would not be bullied. She stood her ground. She had an amazing interview. And I'm just sitting there like, yeah, but do you know of one question that she answered? So I don't know. So Mark wrote, this bill was killed because it contained $60 billion for Ukraine and billions for Israel and still allowed 5,000 across per day, not because Trump gained politically. Mark, I'm 100% with you. And I do not understand, like, to me, it's weak leadership for you to blame why you couldn't get something done based on your opposition. That's like, it makes no sense. And of course, this is not a perfect analogy, but that's like being a Dallas Cowboys fan, or let's say you're a Dallas Cowboys player and you go to your coach and you weren't able to do your assignment. You weren't able to tackle somebody, let's say, and you went over to the coach and said, hey, coach, wasn't able to tackle him. He didn't let me tackle him. He just kind of like tried to spin out of it. And that's why I couldn't tackle him. Coach is like, wait, what? Like, and I know it's perhaps not the fairest analogy, but how do you just blame somebody else? That's part of the role. That's part of your responsibility. You have to be able to work with other groups and get them to buy into your programs and policies as well. You can't just be working with your team and expecting it to go smooth and to say like, oh, well, yeah, we pushed this bill through. And then when it doesn't go, just blame it on the Republicans, blame it on Donald Trump. How are you blaming it on somebody who's not even in office when you are in office and have been in office for the last 3.5 years? Like, why would we trust your leadership moving forward? Let's say you become president. Who's to say Donald Trump won't be petty and reach out to a lot of his people, as Kamala Harris always says, and shut down anything else that she passes through? And then she says that, oh, well, it won't matter. Well, I'm going to do an executive order. Well, you can do an executive order right now. Right now, because until this interview, everything that you've said regarding you and Joe Biden was that you wouldn't do anything differently. You said it on Colbert. You said it on The View. You said that nothing comes to mind, the things that you would do differently. So make it make sense. So Ant wrote, I don't normally appreciate Fox, but I appreciate how prepared this interviewer was. I'm trying to tell y'all. Well, I was about to say, go watch the full interview. We're watching the full interview. We're going to get through it. And I'm telling y'all, this man was prepared. It's almost as if he knew exactly what she was going to say and respond. And matter of fact, maybe he did, because just like Kamala Harris said on Charlemagne's show, she says the same rhetoric over and over. And that's her strategy. Ant wrote, I would wait 21K in the room. Hold up. Make sure, I don't even have it up, so it's not showing me. But make sure y'all take a second real quick to like. It's going to help the algorithm get as many people in here as we continue. Let's go. Wait, did I catch up with all the chats? Hold on. We got a couple more. So shout out to Big Bro Doug. He's saying good morning from Utah. I wish I was out there with him, but couldn't make the trip. So he's on a dope trip that I'm sure he'll explain to us either later on or on the next show. 25K in the building. Stop playing with us, man. Yo, need y'all to like. All right, so Mac Daddy wrote, also 3.5 years between talking points, overturned Trump policies in 2021 and blocked bill in 2024. 3.5 years of illegals flooding the country. Like what? And Mac Daddy, I'm right there with you. And the scariest part about what you just wrote is that you can say all these things. That's just another one of the things that you can say to people. And the majority of people, if they're not already voting for Trump, they're going to hear what you're saying. It's going to go in one ear, and it may not even go out the other ear. Matter of fact, it may not even go in that ear. It's like there's a block that they have. There's a block because, and maybe it's the same thing on the other side as well, but This is what I always say. Come with the breakdown and the facts, just like Bret did. Have a prepared interviewer. Because the things that I see Donald Trump going on, whether it's the National Association of Black Journalists, whether it's all these other platforms that he's going on, playing home games as well as away games, I do not hear them correcting him on things. Matter of fact, the fact checker at the debate when it was Kamala and Donald Trump, they were fact checking him, and then we had to fact check the fact checkers because they were fact checking him wrong in a lot of cases. Whether it came to abortion and things that he was talking about with the former governor of Virginia, all of these different things. And what did the Democrats just, they throw? Oh, well, he's going to do Project 2025. Him and his team say they're not associated to it, but does it matter? Like, that's what I'm trying to ask y'all. When y'all have these conversations with people that do not see the same way or are not as objective to the fact that, hey, maybe the Democrats are lying. Maybe Kamala is lying. And then even if they accept that, they'll get to the point where they'll say, well, everybody lies. Everybody does this. Okay, well, when you were just bashing Trump for lying, for doing all these things, but then when it's Kamala, it's, oh, everybody lies. Okay, I get it. All right, so Mark said, Baier could have dug a lot deeper. The damage on Kamala was inflicted by herself. That's an excellent point that you make. An excellent point that you make, Mark, because I think that he could have, think about it. He didn't even touch on the economy as much as I think he could have. Ant wrote, is this interview where she jumped ship on Biden in the last 4 years of Democratic Coventry saying this won't be a Biden democracy? This is that interview, Ant. She said that this will not be a continuation of the Joe Biden presidency. So this is the first time that she actually came out and made it official. But then this is when she was telling us to go to her website and look at the policies that are all of a sudden up there, or came a little bit later than people expected. All right, let's keep going with the interview. Ew, it's Dak. Just want to thank you for checking out our video and visiting the OG Network. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure that you give us a like. And if you're looking to join a community of inspired individuals striving for purposeful abundance, subscribe. And if you're feeling real generous, share the video with some friends and family. All right, I'll see y'all soon. Ew.